Hello, welcome back, and as always, I hope you're doing well. Right, when Michael Jai White said that he could beat Brucelee in a fight, quite a few years ago now, it caused a lot of controversy and a lot of hate on the internet. So let's have a chat about it. Michael Jai White is not just an action star, he is a legitimate martial artist who's been training in karate since the age of 7, and by 14 he was teaching professionally. His martial arts skills have added an intensity and realism to his movie roles. Like Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, White's skills and real-world fighting experiences have helped shape his career. But a statement he made on Dish Nation about 10 years ago sparked controversy and outrage amongst martial artists and Bruce Lee fans. White boldly claimed he could beat Bruce Lee in a fight. His reasoning? A significant weight advantage. White argued that 132-pound Bruce Lee would struggle against him given his larger size at 230 pounds.
Bruce Lee would be no match for
me.
The person
You're saying you could beat Bruce Lee?
Really? Bruce Lee is 132 pounds. I outweigh him by 100 pounds.
Does size
matter? Size matters, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, size matters a great deal. But that slipped out. But but yeah, size matters a great deal. It's too big of a discrepancy.
This comment didn't sit well with die-hard fans of the martial arts legend. He received plenty of backlash on social media.
Michael Jai White, he did an interview a while back, which we discussed in our interview as well, where he said that he could have beaten Bruce Lee.
Oh, he should have never said that.
But Bruce, nah. You know what? He's probably the first person that I've ever heard take a shot at Bruce. I've never heard nobody say, yo, I could beat Bruce.
Fans were not impressed, criticising him, calling his comments disrespectful. Some urged him to prove himself in a professional fight, while others just accused him of merely seeking attention. Realising how his words have been perceived, White penned a public apology on Instagram and Facebook, explaining his intent behind the statement. The beef has ended. This being the 44th anniversary of Bruce Lee's passing, let me address the Michael Jai White vs Bruce Lee thing. First of all, I've never regretted saying something so much in my life. I'm sorry to have seemingly disrespected Bruce Lee, the greatest martial artist in the world, who's not only my hero, but the very reason martial arts still exist on this level today. I shouldn't have said it. How I talk to professional fighters should be different to how I talk to non-fighters on the radio. While there isn't a professional fighter who'd disagree with the thought, £100 difference between two pro fighters being a massive advantage, the regular public, influenced by years of movies and fight scenes depicting David over Goliath, would have a tough time digesting this. In the real world, even a £20 difference is a huge advantage to the larger fighter, especially if the skill levels are similar. To think of Mayweather, the most advanced boxer ever, beating Tyson would bring pro fighters to laughter, and I'm sure Tyson would agree. Even though in the history of fighting, no one has ever seen any record of a 125-pound fighter beating a 230-pound fighter in the ring, Jiu-Jitsu cases being the closest. I thought this was a case of common sense, but media is more powerful than I ever thought. Hell, I benefit from this perception myself. And although most haven't seen me really fight, I'm perceived as a real fighter because of the movies. In reality, I've been fighting competitively well before I was an actor. Sparred and trained with pro fighters all my life, and while there is still no one in MMA, I can't prove myself worthy to go rounds with even today. I still shouldn't have said what I said in mixed company. While I, arrogantly in my own opinion, wanted to point out an interesting fact about reality versus film, I did so with the unintended perception that I was considering myself superior to Bruce Lee, which couldn't be further from the truth. I apologise from the bottom of my heart to all those who thought I meant to disrespect Bruce Lee. That was never my intention. I apologise to Lee in person this year, and this is my personal apology to all of you. Michael Jai White.
Oh, I wish I didn't say that shit.
However, his clarification did little to sway some critics who continued to challenge his statement. Reflecting on his words in an interview with DJ VLAD, White confessed his regret, admitting that comparing himself to Bruce Lee a personal hero of his, was ill-advised.
When I say, oh yeah, it could have been Bruce Lee, I wish I didn't say that because he's my hero too.
He said that real fighting vastly differs from cinematic combat, emphasising that size does matter in physical confrontations. In his view, a lighter fighter, even one with Lee's legendary skill level, would struggle against a much heavier opponent of equal talent. While his remarks on Bruce Lee stirred controversy and debate, White stands by the core idea behind them. Practical fighting considerations matter. Yet, even he admits that uttering those words was a mistake, given the deep admiration millions hold for Bruce Lee and his legacy. I genuinely do believe Michael J. White does regret saying what he said about Bruce Lee. And we must never forget one of Bruce Lee's most famous quotes: "Mistakes are always forgivable if one has the courage to admit them." I honestly do think Michael J. White is a really nice guy actually, and he does regret saying that comment. And he is no doubt a legitimate martial artist. He's a tough guy who has a deep respect for Bruce Lee.
Because there's nobody Bruce Lee's level anywhere. Anywhere. There's nobody in Bruce Lee's territory. Think about this. The man can make a noise. He did everything with such a flair, and he was so amazing. You want to live vicariously through him. To this day, man, it's like there's nobody who graces the covers of that many magazines after being dead for 50 years.
But one thing that does bug me, I've watched plenty of his videos now being interviewed about the subject, he keeps saying Bruce Lee wasn't a real fighter.
Because Bruce Lee was not a fighter. That's not his skill set. You're an actor fighting a real fighter, but he was not a fighter.
I'm not gonna say Bruce Lee is on the level of a real fighter.
Is his theory based just on Bruce Lee not competing in karate competitions? I personally believe Bruce Lee was an exceptional martial artist. Obviously on screen we see stuff we'd never seen before, and in real life situations. A street fight. I'd agree with Mr. White that 80%, maybe a bit more, of the time a bigger guy with equal skills would win over a smaller guy. And that's why you would never see Floyd Mayweather, who he often references, go in a ring with Mike Tyson. The power difference wouldn't make the fight fair. But there are exceptions, and we are talking about a fight with rules. And street fights are unpredictable. A lucky punch, kick, headbutt, kick to the groin, eye jab, it could change the outcome. Anything can happen in a scrap. And there are certain parts of the body that you can't toughen up through training. The groin, the throat, the eyes, the teeth. Also, there are situations where a bigger guy on that particular day may not be feeling it, and the smaller guy might be right up for it and feeling like a right dog. The famous Mark Twain quote: "It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog." I love that quote. When Conor McGregor fought Nate Diaz in UFC 196, Nate beat Conor in a rear naked choke. But when they fought again in UFC 202, Conor won. The same guys, different outcome. Fights are unpredictable. So I'd say in a ring or an octagon, Bruce would probably have a tough fight against Michael J. White. Although Joe Louis said Bruce Lee hit like a heavyweight, and Larry Hartzell, another big guy, was amazed at Bruce Lee's punching power. And Bruce Lee was also very fast and hard to hit. He was elusive. And another thing we know about Bruce Lee, he had a bad temper, a violent temper. He had that toughness. But on the street, I don't know. Nothing is certain in a street fight. Now, I know Michael J. White says Mayweather could run across, jump off a table and hit Tyson, but Bruce Lee wouldn't punch. He may flick to the eyes, jab to the eyes. Remember Bruce's knuckles? He was a tough little guy. James DeMille, who was, 250 pounds? He was a big guy. Remember what he said about Bruce Lee's fighting skills?
My experience with Bruce was as a fighter, as a street fighter. I was never a tournament player. All I knew was a fight. Now, I didn't fight relative to size and weight and division. It was a fight against person. Now, if the person was 135 or 335, it didn't matter. It was a fight between two people, and whoever was standing would win. Well, Bruce, 135 against Jim DeMille, 225, Ed Hart, 240, 250, professional boxer, kill you with either hand, Jesse Glover, super athlete, judo, karate, all of us street fighters, Bruce could beat us all. And I don't mean it would be a struggle. I mean, he could beat us all and we didn't have a chance. This was in an actual fight situation where I tried to hit him. I tried to knock him out. We tried to hurt this kid because he was always embarrassing us in demonstrations and just in general.
I'll rest my case. Like I said, I don't know for certain, but Bruce went up against some big people. He showed this in some of his movies, against Kareem with a height, Samo in Enter the Dragon at the beginning. These were bigger guys. Another thing that bugs me a little bit, Michael J. White was asked who would win, hypothetically of course, in a fight between Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan. And Michael J. White said, Jackie Chan. And the reason, again, was size.
An actual fight between Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan.
I would, if I was a betting man, I'd
Yes.
say Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan was bigger.
Even though Jackie is only ever so slightly taller than Bruce was, and only a little bit heavier. And when Jackie Chan himself was asked who'd win in their prime, Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan,
Jackie, in your prime versus Bruce Lee, who would win?
Bruce Lee.
Really?
Yes.
No question?
No question.
Jackie's so cool, such a humble guy, but there you go. Sorry, Michael. But what do you think? This is what I like to know. What do you guys think? Who would have the upper hand in an actual fight between Bruce Lee and Michael J. White? Or would you agree with Michael J. White's assessment that a bigger guy would always win? Or do you think Lee's skills would overcome the size disparity? Let me know in the comments down below. We will never actually know because Bruce Lee's been gone for many, many years, and if he was around now, he'd be in his 80s. But it does make an interesting debate. We often think about things like this, but we'd never know for certain. But do you think Bruce would give White a run for his money? I'd love to know your thoughts on the topic, I really would. Anyway, right, so there's my views. We will never know for certain. Like I said, many times the bigger guy would probably win. But Bruce Lee was a rare individual. Just listen to people that knew him talk.
Things that Bruce Lee did, and this is what people don't realize, what he did, a lot of people can't do. Like, he could really shell shock a person with his lead jab. A lot of people can't now. We could score with that. We could put the guy off balance with it. We might even hurt him, but we can't take a man out. He had tremendous power, and we don't have that. Pound for pound, I think he punches. He's like the hardest puncher you would ever meet.
Anyway, still respect Michael J. White for the fact that he apologised for it. Kudos. Anyway, I'd like to know your thoughts. Right, before I go, next week I'm going to Venice. Only going away for a few days. But I'm hoping this weekend, I'm going next Wednesday, I'm hoping to interview in here, in the Bruce Lee room, Mike Claydon. Mike Claydon is the events manager for the event that we're putting on in September. Bruce Lee, the man, the legend, the icon, the film made by Steve Kerridge. So I'm going to have a few questions for Mike on the weekend, and I'm going to put that out while I'm away. Like I said, I fly out next Wednesday and we come back on the Sunday evening or Monday. So I'm not away for too long, but a little break to Venice with the wife. Right, as always, before I go, if you wouldn't mind giving this video a thumbs up, it really does help. Comment, let me know your thoughts on this whole Michael J. White versus Bruce Lee scenario. Subscribe to the channel, as you know I want Stripey Rambles to grow a little this year, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. And of course, a special thank you to my amazing patrons. Guys, you're amazing. Right, with that, I'm gonna love you and leave ya. Have yourselves an amazing rest of the week, guys. Much love, and I'll be back with another ramble real soon. You take care now.